Picture this, a Jedi Master, legendary in his might, yet perhaps even more so for the perpetual scowl etched upon his brow. A man whose very presence commanded attention, not just through the hum of his unique amethyst blade, but through an almost palpable air of stern disapproval. This was Mace Windu, and his grim demeanor was, indeed, legendary. From the quiet halls of the Jedi Temple to the bustling chambers of the Galactic Senate, Mace Windu moved with a singular focus, his gaze often fixed, unblinking, on the imperfections of the world around him. He possessed a very low regard for corrupt politicians, seeing their self-serving machinations as a poison seeping into the heart of the Republic. He held an equally dim view of any Jedi who strayed from the path, particularly those who, in his estimation, succumbed to personal ambition or emotional entanglement. He had very little patience for the failures of the Senate, that vast, unwieldy body of compromise and political maneuvering. He saw its increasing inability to act decisively, its endless debates, and its susceptibility to insidious influences as direct threats to galactic stability. He was, to put it mildly, disdainful of any Jedi who disobeyed the clear will of the High Council, viewing such defiance not merely as insubordination, but as a dangerous erosion of the very structure that held the Order together. In fact, it was the ever-observant Obi-Wan Kenobi who once noted, with a hint of exasperated affection, that Master Windu seemed to have a habit of scowling at everyone. It wasn't a casual observation. It spoke volumes about Windu's consistent bearing, a signpost of his internal landscape. This sternness, however, was not merely a character quirk or a sign of an ill temper. It was instead a profound reflection of his exceptionally high standards, his unwavering commitment to the Order's ancient traditions, and a deep-seated apprehension for the future. Mace Windu was a Jedi of the Old Guard, a sentinel who stood resolutely by the wisdom accumulated over 1,000 generations. He embodied the purity of the Jedi Code, believing in its strictures not as limitations, but as the very foundation of balance and peace. For him, tradition wasn't just a collection of old rules, it was a living, breathing history, a guide forged in countless trials that, if adhered to, could navigate any darkness. This made him inherently suspicious of anyone he perceived as a potential threat to those cherished traditions. He saw the subtle shifts in the Force, the growing shadow, and the encroaching chaos, and he believed the best defense was to cling even more tightly to the established ways. He was a staunch guardian of the old ways in an age of profound, unsettling change and growing uncertainty. He understood, perhaps more acutely than many of his peers, that the very fabric of the Republic and the Jedi Order was fraying. His grimness was, in a sense, a public display of this immense burden, the weight of responsibility he felt to uphold what was right and true. He observed Anakin Skywalker, for instance, with a keen, often skeptical eye, not out of personal dislike, but out of a deep concern for the young man's tumultuous spirit and unconventional path. He saw the potential for greatness, yes, but also the dangerous volatility that could upset the delicate balance of the Force within the Order. His scowl was often an outward manifestation of his internal vigilance, a constant assessment of risks and deviations. In a time when the lines between light and dark were blurring, when political corruption ran rampant, and when the Jedi themselves were being drawn into a galactic war, Mace Windu stood as a resolute bulwark. His sternness was his armor, his high standards his shield. He wasn't afraid to speak uncomfortable truths, or to hold others to the same rigorous principles he applied to himself. His unwavering commitment to the Order's ideals, even in the face of what he must have perceived as its inevitable decline, shaped every interaction, every decision, and indeed, every grim expression. He was a pillar of consistency, a man who believed in the absolute necessity of principle, even when the galaxy around him seemed to be falling apart. In essence, Mace Windu's legendary grimness was not a flaw, but a testament to his unwavering dedication. He was the guardian of purity, the sentinel who saw the storm gathering and stood firm, determined to uphold the Jedi way even unto his last fateful moments. He was a complex figure, perhaps misunderstood by some, but always driven by an unshakable devotion to the light as he understood it. What are your thoughts on Mace Windu's seemingly unyielding nature? Do you see his sternness as a strength, a weakness, or a necessary reflection of the times he lived in? Share your perspectives in the comments below. If you enjoyed this thoughtful exploration, please consider subscribing for more journeys into the rich tapestry of character and lore. Thank you for listening.